Hey guys, this is IX with Rollout Reviews doing another Let's Build. Now, a lot of people seem to really like my Po-Matoran Let's Build, so today here I have another classic Bionicle set. This time it is Jaller and Gukko from 2003. The thing about Bionicle is that I don't have close to every single set. My collection is far from completion, so there are sets that I just never got back when they were released. And from 2003, two of those sets were Jaller and Gukko, and Takua and Puku. Recently, I decided to go on Bricklink and get them and add them to my collection, seeing as the 2003 reviews are next up on the roster. So, here we go. Now, I have never experienced this set. I've never held it in hand. I really don't know what to expect. In fact, I know shockingly little about this set. Like, I don't really know how it's built. I'm not familiar with any of this. So it's almost gonna be a new experience entirely. Like, often old sets, I've seen them countless times. I know how they're built. I know what they look like. I don't even think I've seen a review of this set. So, this should be interesting. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I bought this on Bricklink, and I bought it from a seller called Lion's Den. I've ordered from them several times before. They're really good. They package their sets in a bunch of different little baggies to keep them safe. Even the mask here is in its own little separate bag. It's got a little picture of the set and the set number there. All of the pieces are really well taken care of, really good quality, and not a single one is missing. I've already gone through and checked to make sure all of the pieces are definitely here. I have two different bins here, one with more specialized pieces and one with more Technic pieces. This set did not come with the instructions, so this is actually the first time I'm doing a Let's Build without the physical paper instructions in hand. Instead, I have the instructions on my phone here, and that should work pretty well, but we'll see. Like I said, this is the first time I'm actually doing this, so I don't know, it could be a technical disaster. One way to find out. Let's get started. So in the Bricklink order, I got this set, Takua and Puku, and the rest of the 2003 Matoran that I was missing. Yeah, I actually didn't get a whole lot of sets from 2003. I got Makuta, of course. I got Takanuva, because those are like the two big sets of the year. But, yeah, like, I only got two of the Matoran, Maku and Matoro, and, I got all of the Rakshi, because the Rakshi were awesome. I didn't get any of the Call, because who cares about the Call? I still resent the Call. And that's really it. That's really all I got from 2003. So it is one of my most incomplete years, right alongside, well, it was, at least, right alongside 2007 and 2009. I still gotta get those years a little more complete. From 2007, I have, like, Matoro, Elec, Kalma, and then most of the Titans, because Titans that year were really good, but most of the canister sets I'm missing, and most of the smaller sets. And then from 2009, I really only have Po-Matoran and the canister Matanui, as well as the Axiom T3, I believe. Whichever the... or Casium, whichever the little, like, motorcycle with the sidecar is, that's the one. But that's really it. Like, I have shockingly little from those couple of years. Oh, also 2005. I don't have all of the Hordika or all of the Vizirac. So before I get to those years, I definitely should, before I get to reviews for those years, I definitely should, get them a little more complete, I'd say. I'm not really doing a whole lot of commentary on Jaller himself here, just because, well, I just built like 4 or 5 of these things. 4 of these things. I figured that I wouldn't do Let's Builds on the individual Matoran that I got, just because they're all built exactly the same, and I was going to do Let's Builds for the 2 larger sets I got, so I figured, you know, like, you get the gist here. These are the 2003 Matoran. It's a really cool build. You know, they got leg articulation, arm articulation. They each come with a little Coley stick here that has a puck that you can hit around using the gear function. So instead of like a disc throwing arm, they have an actual gear function. And I got 2 of these sets back in 2003, as I mentioned earlier, and both of them were missing this puck when I went back through and rebuilt my collection a couple years ago. For some reason, this puck in particular is just very prone to being lost, and I don't know why. It sort of fits in this little hoop here at the end, and then you can take it out and hit it around and actually play Coley. I really like Coley in the sense that it's such a simple game that you can actually play it using the figures. I think around 2003, the Lego sports sets were pretty big, so this sort of plays with that, you know, trend where, you know, you had action figures made out of Lego that you could actually play a sport with. You could actually play a game with. I've never actually done it, but it does sound like a lot of fun. Anyway, there is Jaller. I do think it's really kind of weird that all of the Matoran went through like a rebuilt form. I know it's in the story, like the rebuilding and the renaming, because Mori tribes people. I don't know. Is that offensive? Is that sensitive? Is that I don't know. I don't know what the proper term is. But anyway, the Mori tribes of New Zealand took issue with the fact that Bionicle used their native language for plenty of their names, plenty of the character names, so they had to change a bunch of things. And during that time, they also decided, hey, why don't we make the Matoran a little more articulate, a little better built? And so they gave them a redesign in 2003. And I understand it was done to sell toys, but it does seem a little weird to me. I think there's something really charming about the Tohunga design, the Matoran design. We're starting Gukko, by the way, here. And while the 2003 design is really cool, I almost would have liked more colors of the Tohunga pieces. Like, I would have liked to see, you know, a lot more Matoran parts, a lot more maybe different Co-Matoran parts, things like that. And it's kind of a shame, because like if you do want to make a village of Tohunga, a village of Matoran, it's very difficult to make something like Tomorrow. You have to like paint pieces to make a character like Tomorrow, because even though he was a fairly common character in the story at that time, you know, he's one of the Coley team members. I believe he was on the Chroniclers company. Was he? I don't exactly remember. He probably was. You couldn't make him. The pieces to make him weren't available in the proper colors. And that's kind of a shame. I also just think, you know, the rebuilding from 2003 really was just poorly done. I mean, everything about early 2003, let's be honest, wasn't very well done. What do I need here? This. And this. And this. Excuse me for a minute. I'm just trying to figure things out. This is a mainly Technic build here. And if you've seen any of my Let's Builds before, you know you know, for one reason or another, I'm just not as efficient or proficient with Technic and the complexity of the build, because I'm talking here. I gotta be, you know, more than focused on this. I also have to talk about things and try to stay entertaining, and so I get distracted, and that leads to mistakes. So every once in a while, I need to pause here to make sure I'm doing everything I'm doing right. I'm also, you know, dealing with this different format here that I've never done this before. You know, used this as instructions, at least on camera. So it's a different experience. Anyway, like I was saying, yeah, early 2003 is probably my least favorite time for Bionicle. I mean, late 2003 was pretty good. You know, you had Mask of Light, the marketing sort of exploded. 2003 was kind of the highlight of Bionicle's prime. You know, that's when the marketing kind of went insane. Hold on here, I gotta get this. He uses a rubber band to keep this piece in place. I wonder if that's just the handle or if that'll actually play a role in the function or something like that. Anyway. Yeah, that's when Bionicle was kind of at its prime. It's almost like the peak of the golden age. I suppose 2003, 2004 was really when the big boom happened. You know, they had like shoes and they had you know, a movie, of course. What else? I mean, just a bunch of different marketing. I'm building something here, so it's hard to come up with examples. But it was kind of crazy, and for that reason, I feel like 2003's. I feel like this is the wrong piece. Actually, hold on a second. I think I need one longer here. All right. I feel like 2003 is very nostalgic for a lot of people because of that. I feel like that's when a lot of people got into Bionicle, and that's fine. But really looking back and you know, looking at the story material from 2003, it's very lacking. Like it's not actually great, and you know, honestly, I think, myself included to a degree, see that year through, what's the term? What's the expression? Rose-tinted glasses. Because especially early 2003 is very weak. Like, the Borak Call is my least favorite Bionicle saga. There's just so many plot holes, so many questions unanswered. The Borak Call themselves make little sense and seem just like an excuse to resell molds from the previous year, slightly recolored. The Nuva Cube is not explained at all, nor are the Nuva symbols really. The Nuva Kanoe that they go and find again is once again just another rehash from a couple years prior, finding the masks, and even then they don't even use the Nuva Kanoe against the Borak Call very effectively. The whole thing about the Toa losing their powers was a neat idea, but I feel like it was squandered a bit on that saga. I feel like they could have just done so much better with it. But that said, late 2003 is very nostalgic for me personally. How does this go on? Hold on a second. What? Okay, so you got this. Where is this? This is kind of unclear, actually. Okay, this piece needs to go forward one. And then this goes on like that, I believe? What am I even building here? I guess this is the top. Again, I know shockingly little about this set, so I don't really know what's going on here. We haven't gotten to the actual function yet. So, Bear with me for a second. Do I go like all the way through here like that? Let's find out. What's the next step? Okay. All right. Sidetracked here for a moment while I figure things out. All right. Okay, I think I'm moving on to something new, so I can continue here. But like 2003, late 2003 especially, was nostalgic for me. I mean, back in the day, I knew Mask of Light like by heart, you know, like all of the dialogue in that movie I could recite in my sleep. I watched it so many times. And I loved the Rakshi, and I loved Makuta. But even, like, I remember at the time thinking that the Borak... I think I did this wrong, actually. I think it is supposed to go the way I had it a second earlier. Sorry about this. Okie doke. This actually goes like that. Even though it's kind of loose, I suppose that'll be fixed eventually. But even in 2003, I remember thinking the Borak Hall were kind of cheap, you know? I actually remember in late 2002, when the Nuva came out, like I was... How old was I back then? I don't know. 8? About 8. I remember thinking, like, the Toa are getting upgrades already? Because it took me a while to get the original Toa. You know, I kind of got them one at a time over a span of, well, about a year, maybe a little more. And I had just gotten the last one, like right before I saw the Toa Nuva in LEGO Magazine. I think this actually needs to be longer here. And I just remember thinking, like, they're getting new Toa already? Like, what? This isn't fair. You know, I just got the old ones. And so, like, the call in... We're cheap in that respect, too. But I remember being really excited about the Rakshi. I remember being really excited about the movie. Things like that. I remember, you know, like, talking to friends on the playground, competing, like, oh, I watched Mask of Light 8 times. Oh, I watched it 9 times, you know, like... You know, oh, you know, who watched the movie how many times determined who was the bigger Bionicle fan. Also, like, it didn't matter how much any of us knew about the story. Whoever had the most Bionicle sets, whoever's parents bought them the most toys made them the bigger fan. Something like that, you know. Things like that. Just kids competing pointlessly over things that don't matter. But, oh yeah, okay, this makes sense now. These pieces going together. Okay. There we go. That's all solid. But back to sort of my point where this started at the beginning. The rebuilding is part of that. The rebuilding was an early 2003 thing, the renaming, the rebuilding, whatever it was called, where they got the 2003 forms, and it just seemed a little unnecessary to me. I mean, the 2003 build is pretty cool, but like I said, I sort of wish that we would have just got more Tohunga, because I think the Tohunga, while lacking in articulation, are fine. But that's just me. That's just me. Anyway, this is sort of the main body of the Gukko, I suppose. Now we're setting this off to the side and moving on to the head. You know, in Bionicle, just looking at the pictures of this, there are a lot of Bionicle heads that I feel didn't translate well. Like, they're a little hard to decipher, like where the eyes are specifically. Like, this is one of them, and I'll get to that once we have the head built pretty much all the way. But the Vaki, I could never tell what their eyes actually were back in the day. Like they have light piping that goes like through an eye stalk. The Vaki from 2004, by the way, if you want to look those up, if you're unfamiliar. And, oh, hey, this is a piece. This is a cool thing, an orange Kopaka sword. But I always thought their eyes were like where well, basically like where their nose is. I actually don't think I'm supposed to do this quite yet. All right. Because they've got like 2 slots right there. They've got 2 holes like on the front of their face that look like eyes. And it was always slightly confusing. Also from 2004, Kreka, since he used the same headpiece, and Rudaka from 2005, she used the same headpiece too. And it never looked to me like where their eyes actually were. Like that was their eyes. You know, they were too far back, and there were eye-shaped slots right before that. So, yeah, it was confusing. But the Gukko is another is another one of those where it has these as eyes on the side of its head, but then it has like, you know, one of these on the front, and those sort of look like eyes. So, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, once we get a little closer to that point where you can actually see how the head is built, I'll show that off. Also, it is kind of interesting to me. Well, on a personal level, I guess, that I am doing these Let's Builds so kind of close to when I plan on reviewing them. I plan on starting the 2003 reviews probably after the new 2016 sets come out, just because I took so long to get the Summer Wave, the 2015 Summer Wave done. Wait, whoa. What's going on here? Okay, all right. I skipped a step. All right. Okay, yeah, here's actually the point that I'm talking about. I think. Hold on, am I missing something? It's a little small here. I gotta zoom. No, this, I think, just goes on like that. It feels weird that there isn't another attachment point there of some sort. But oh well. Alright, there we go. Anything else? Nope, that's the head. So here's what I'm talking about. That is the head of the Gukko. I think it goes like this. And it just looks like these are meant to be the eyes, and this is kind of like a duckbill. But no, these are the actual eyes. I guess this is like the mouth down here. It is kind of a strange looking thing. But yeah, there it is. And then this attaches just like that. But as I was saying before I got into that, this is actually fairly big. I'm surprised. I don't remember how much this set was at the time. I think it might have been $20. Maybe it was $15, but I think it might have been $20. So it is rather big. Although, you know, Lord of Skull Spiders, I feel, is something similar. Mass-wise, I could be wrong. So I don't know, 15 or 20, and that's a pretty good size, I feel like, for kind of a Rahi looking thing. It is a Rahi, it's not a Rahi looking thing. What was I talking about? Yeah, so like I'm doing these Let's Builds, and then fairly soon, I mean not like extremely soon, but fairly soon I'm going to be doing the 2003 reviews. And so I got to play with these a lot to get as much experience with them as I have on other things. I mean, things like Takanuva and Makuta, as I mentioned earlier, I've had since 2003. I'm going to know a lot more about them and be more qualified in those reviews, I feel, to talk about them. Whereas this set, I'm just building it now for the first time, and I know nothing about it as I'm building it. It's all new. It's almost like these are new sets, and then I'm gonna give a little time before I review them, so that I can tell you all about them and not sound like a total idiot, at least. But yeah, it's interesting. I am really looking forward to 2016, for the record. I'm not really going to talk too much about the sets right now. There are, leaks and things out there. I don't really like talking about leaks on my channel. Not because I have any kind of policy for it. I just feel like it's better to wait and talk about them when they're released during the Let's Builds for them, so that it's less speculation and more, physical in-hand, on-hands exploration, I guess, if that makes any sense. What is going on here? Is that right? Well, it has, I guess. That just looks weird to me. Okay, well, I guess I set this off to the side now. And build another thing? I don't know. I mean, this is kind of fun in a way, like experiencing a classic Bionicle set for the first time ever. All right. Sort of run out of things to talk about, as far as I know. What? Okay, alright, so what? This is bonkers. So I build another one of these. There's actually not too many pieces left, either. That's all we got. Let's make everything a bit more visible there. It actually gave me extra rubber bands, it looks like, which is nice of them. But I gotta make a mirrored build of this. Oh wait, hold on, there's two different sizes here? Okay, so there's that size. What? There's 3 different sizes. Oh boy. Is this the right one? Well, it's the only other one with 2. So I'm going to put these over here. Okay, and then build a second one of that. Alright, now we're getting into sketchy Technic territory. Although I think like this was the meat of it all. I think we got through that pretty easily. Without too many issues. So I suppose in that regard I am pretty confident that the rest of this will go pretty smoothly. But even then, I mean, I still have another set to build after this. Not in this Let's Build, of course, but in another one. And we'll get to that when we get to that. But I plan on filming it right after this one. And I can only imagine that halfway through that one, I will have started to lose my mind. So that should be fun. All right, so these face like this. And then this goes like that. Right? Are we doing that right? No. No, we're not. Ignore me! It's like this. And then we do a similar weird thing on this side using one of these pieces. Like that. I actually, I don't know where this is going. Because once again, I am very unfamiliar with this. Like, I know the Gukko has 4 wings. That's what a Gukko does. Just making sure, the connectors don't break as I do that. That would be unfortunate. So this, freely kind of moves? Is it supposed to do that? Okay. Huh. So the wings cross. Like, I was expecting, I guess that wouldn't make sense, right? So the wings cross like this. Okay, and I guess that doesn't move because this goes on like that. And then for now, this is kind of loosey-goosey. Or Lucy Gukko. Okay, alright. And then, oddly, we just set that down. We just set this whole wing assembly down. While we build something completely different. Alright then, well there's that. There's wings. Let's just set that back there and move on to whatever this next part is. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting just to sort of... Well, I don't know how that would attach anyway. I don't know how these two things would attach anyway, so I guess that was a silly thought. But here we are. I can imagine this is the final section. I'm really excited to see how this is going to work, because like I said, I don't think I've ever seen a review of the Gukko bird. So seeing this function in action will sort of be the first time, I suppose, I've ever done it. It is really fun. Like, this feels a lot more like the, like more recent Let's Builds that I do on new sets that come out. And it does feel good, like building a classic set with that kind of mentality here. So yeah, we'll see about future Let's Builds that I do. On more sets that I'm missing, like 2000s, words, things from 2007, things from 2009, things from 2005. Although I do have most of the Titans from 2007 and 2005, so I don't know how I feel about doing canister sets, especially from 2005, because the majority of them are clones, so it'd be kind of repetitive to do Let's Builds on those. But, definitely some of the 2009 stuff, and, you know what, probably the 2007 canister sets are all different enough to do Let's Builds on each of them individually, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. But, we'll get to that point when we get there. Right now, let's just stay in 2003 here. Alright, so this is kind of big, kind of difficult. This kind of slides through here, slides through the center, keeps that in place. And I can only imagine this will somehow attach to the rest of the body. Although, now I have to set it down. Oh, and now it's going to take out more space here. Alright, but we're close now, seems like, to the end, so just a little while longer here. Okay. Yeah, some of these gray pieces like blend in. Even though these are clear, they do kind of blend in with my little tub here. Sometimes they go missing. Okay, so we got some orange and, well, burnt orange. Orange and burnt orange, yeah. And also, like, Keat orange over here. Although, Keat orange, we call it Keat orange. This is pre-Kitangu, though. Interesting. I just had that epiphany. This is Keat orange before Kitangu. I guess, what is the official color for that, then? In that case. Wait a minute. Wait a gosh darn second. Oh, I'm looking at the piece wrong. Okay. For some reason, well, turning down the sound there for a second. For some reason I thought this was one of these. Oh, hey, look, it's almost 11. Anyway, I thought it was one of these, and I was like, there were silver ones in this set, right? I have no silver ones here. And then I realized that it wasn't silver, it was gray, and then that this wasn't even the right piece. That is my issue. That is the problem I have. A first world problem, if you will. Oh, geez. I guess that's the one... Well, not just the one, but that is one problem with having the phone here instead of physical instructions. And also a flaw in the fact that I'm a little terrible when it comes to Technic. Just because. Anyway, so this piece... Huh. How's this? Oh, okay, so this is a trigger, and we still have to add the rubber bands and these, although I don't know if those actually play a part in the function. But, okay, alright, I don't know if I was supposed to add these earlier, but these go on like this. This is interesting. This is actually interesting. I've heard, you know, people talk about how kind of clever the Jaller and Gukko and Taku and Puku functions were. Again, I don't know much about them, but yeah, this is pretty clever here. So this goes on here like that. All right. I wonder if that. Actually, I do think I did something wrong here. It wouldn't be one of my Let's Builds with a Technic-oriented build if I didn't do something wrong. Okay, alright. I think I lined these up improperly, because I think they're meant to close, like, all the way here. Alright, and then this goes back on like that. Actually closed the PDF. I don't know how I managed that. Okay, we're right at the end here. Everything goes wrong. Alright. Let's see if I can pick back up the pace. Alright, okay, alright. That makes a lot more sense. So now it's like this. This fits flush there. And this comes around like that. Like that. And so the wings kind of flap when you pull this trigger here. Let me get back to where I'm supposed to be in the instructions. 28, 29, 30. What page was I on? I have absolutely no idea. Alright, I was before that. Alright, I'm here. Okay, here I am. Here I am, page 29. Alright, now we go to page 30, and this is where we attach this. Okay. So this goes on here? Yeah. Yeah. And this goes through here, I think. Yeah, okay, alright. Just making sure. This is really big. This is actually a very big Titan. I guess this was like $20 then. It seems about as big as something like the Usanui or Makuta. So, and then of course you also have Jaller going on there. Oh, and then you got, okay, and then you got, these aren't part of the function, these are pieces of the wing. And where do those attach? Not of the wing, of the tail. I mean, I just realized that I made that mistake. I just realized that I said the wrong thing there, but at least I caught myself. Okay, so is this it? Is this the last step? Where do these attach? Am I... What? Oh, okay, I guess right here. Like that. Alright, and then this attaches in there. Kind of seems a little big. Is that right? Is that... I'll have to consult the instructions there. Make sure that that is, in fact, correct. Yeah, that's a little disconcerting, because here it is in the picture. And it does seem a little shorter there. Maybe they are shorter. Whatever the case, there you go. This is what they gave me. So I'll sort that out if it is wrong in a bit. But yeah, the function's pretty cool. You kind of hold it like this and pull the trigger. And it flaps the wings. And then, oh, that's kind of neat as well. So, kind of has to hold on to the Coley stick a little different. But then when you sit down a Matoran, they got these two little pinholes there, and it uses those so that he can ride it. And you can actually fit a second one on there, so both Jaller and Takua can ride on it. And I assume Puku has something similar, so that they can, both ride on them and go on adventures. So yeah, there you go. There's the Gukko. There is Jaller and Gukko. That's much bigger. A little more unwieldy than I was expecting, but yeah, there you go. There it is. Let me see. Oh no, well, if actually on this picture here, if I can zoom in here, those actually are a fair bit bigger than they are in the instructions. So I guess something changed somewhere along the design process. That is strange. That is a strange, interesting, strange thing. But, yep, there you go. You can quote me on that. But, let me get all the way to the title, the cover of the instructions. There you go. There's that. Ta-da! Jaller and Gukko. So, it's definitely been a journey, like most of my Let's Builds usually are. I hope you have enjoyed, however, and this is RolloutReviews, signing off. Before I end the video, I do want to make a couple of updates. First and foremost, these pieces on the end of the tail, I attached them too high up on this Technic beam, causing these tubes to get bunched up. Now that I've fixed it, it looks a whole lot better, and this is how the tail is supposed to be built. The second thing is a little weird. These pieces are misplaced. I was looking at some promotional images, and these aren't quite right. I went back and looked at the footage, and at first I thought I made the mistake, but then I went back even further and looked at the instructions, and the instructions actually tell you to place these pieces wrongly. This is supposed to be attached like this, and this is supposed to be attached like this. It just fills out the neck, makes the shaping look a whole lot better, and covers up some gaps, and then the body just looks a lot more flush, and the tail more defined in this orientation. So I believe that this is the more correct option of the two. Now, last but not least, I also found that you're actually able to attach a tohunga to the top as well, using their feet here. Yeah, he's standing up here, but finally I can have Kongu riding a bird. I think this guy suits the bird a lot better than Jaller being the bird rider in the story. Kongu, the bird pilot or something like that. Anyway, he just looks a little bit better. Maybe a little awkward, like I said, because he's standing up. But I'm also noticing that the Gukko bird looks very, very sad when displayed on the ground like this. Maybe I can put it up on a stand or something. I don't know. It's a thought.